Hello, Regis community. My name is Denise Mashmasarmi, and I'm with the Center for Inclusive Excellence. Today, I will be sharing an inclusion tip on how to interrupt microaggressions. And so, microaggressions are rooted in implicit bias, and so they tend to occur more frequently when folks are under stress or scrambling to meet deadlines. So microaggressions occur on a daily basis. Students of color, professionals of color are experiencing this nonstop. And so we may be thinking that with social distancing, that folks are experiencing this less. Well, in online environments, microaggressions actually increase dramatically because folks tend to feel more comfortable being more vocal behind a computer screen. So last week, I attended a great webinar by Dr. Frank Harris and Dr. Luke Wood on bias and microaggressions in online environments. And so they had a great approach. This is the Raven approach. This is a great way to interrupt microaggressions and get folks to really think about the impact that they are having on communities. So R stands for redirect, intervene, correct, or pull aside. And so it is imperative that you stop the harm from happening, the harm that microaggression is causing. So you can interrupt by asking a question, raising your hand, whether it's a large presentation, whether it's in a small group. If you have the opportunity to pull that person aside who said the microaggression and have a conversation with them, that's great. If it's not that type of environment, you can always wait till after the presentation, even though you may ask a question and they may not call on you or whatever it may be. You can always stay behind for a few minutes and have that conversation with the person. Always ask probing questions for clarity. So I think I heard you say, what did you mean by that? Or I wanted to make sure I understood what you were saying. Were you saying X, Y, and Z? Values clarification. So being the Regis community and being so deeply rooted in the values of the Sisters of St. Joseph of Boston, this is a great time to really push, that love and care for the dear neighbor. Let folks know that, what they may have said doesn't align with the values of the institution. Next is emphasize. So emphasize your thoughts and feelings. It's important to let them know what you thought of or what you felt, whether you were directly impacted by the microaggression or whether you are a bystander in the situation. It's important to share those feelings and share what you were thinking because it allows them to understand and process the impact that they are having. And then next steps. The next time you encounter this situation, you may want to consider doing X, Y, and Z. You may want to consider rephrasing that line in your presentation. You may want to consider thinking a little more about your response or your question that you're asking. And this is a great time to really allow the person to reflect on that impact. And so ways that we can continue to interrupt microaggressions and continue to assist our communities of color is to continue to educate ourselves, continue to learn more and become comfortable with what microaggressions are. How can we interrupt them? How can we make sure that, communities are feeling that sense of belonging and not feeling as though they're being siloed? How do we continue to make sure that, we're doing our part, whether we are the one who's directly impacted or we are that bystander? We don't want to create that bystander effect of someone waiting for someone else to call it out. We want to be able to be that person and be like, hey, I'm highly uncomfortable with the situation, or hey, did you mean this instead of that? And pass that knowledge on to your colleagues, to your family, to your friends. Not only benefit your community, but help to benefit other communities as well. And the more confident and comfortable you become with microaggressions, the more you're likely to call it out, and the more likely they'll be to call it out, which is just pushing forward good habits. And then if we're ever the person who commits the microaggression, let's be real, not all of us are perfect. This is going to happen no matter what, but the more cognizant we are, the less likely we'll do it. The more educated we are about it, the less likely it's going to happen. But if it does happen, let's, listen, always listen to the impact that you had, listen to how the statement was interpreted, and then let's see how we can move forward. So friends, let's continue to, do service for the dear neighbor and continue to keep our communities safe and, continue to spread that inclusion and belonging across the board. Thank you all for listening.